Hey, what's up, YouTube world? It is your girl here, the Venusian Bull, and I'm back with another series of the planets in the houses. And in this video, we are going to be discussing the sun in the sixth house. Now, I'm going to be 100% completely honest. The sixth house is not one of my favorite houses. It's not as interesting to me to discuss as some of the other houses. And I'm going to be honest, I was having a little bit of trouble trying to figure out descriptions and characteristics for the placements in these houses. So I did seek some help on the internet. I utilized my Google. Yes, I did. I utilized my resources, child. But then as I started to dig deeper and, delve into this more, I realized like the sixth house is actually pretty interesting and has its upsides and obviously its downsides. But in terms of talking about it, at this point, I actually can't wait to talk about it. So, we're going to first be talking about Sun in the sixth house. And ironically enough, this is actually a placement that I have. So, I'm going to be reading myself, which is going to be quite interesting. And yeah, so the sixth house, just to kind of give a broad overview, deals with routines, fixing things like DIY projects, your workplace environment, jobs, not career, but jobs, health and wellness, what needs to or what has to be done, assimilation, integration, and it could just deal with like being very picky or particular about things. Also, the sixth house, I'm going to discuss, I'm going to kind of bring in a lot of talk about the pandemic because the sixth house is the house about health and wellness. It is the house that, like, if you have a lot of energy in the sixth house, you could be a germaphobe, and this pandemic is like could really, really be fucking with you in terms of you not want to leave. Like, you got on all of the masks and the shields and the N95 masks and stuff like that. You're wearing the gloves. You just go full throttle, and you're probably the people who work in the healthcare industry because sixth house health. So just keep that in mind that sixth house placements, the pandemic has probably been particularly more difficult for you, even just in terms of your like anxiety and your mental wellness. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. Sun in the sixth house, characteristics may have to, the characteristics that you may have. The work that you do or services that you do are very important to your sense of identity. This is why it's important for a sun in the sixth house person to be doing something they're passionate about because it's directly linked to your identity. All right. Sun in the sixth is very sensitive to criticism about the work that you do. And just remember, sun in the sixth house is similar to having sun in Virgo, okay, or Virgo on the sixth house cusp. All right. So definitely keep that in mind. I forgot doing the previous series to mention the sign on the house cusp because that could just as much influence the characteristics of the house as the planets there. So it's important to remember that. So yeah, sensitive to criticism about the work you do. So when you put your all into your work and you feel like you're doing a good job, if somebody doesn't, state that you did a good job, or even if they give you constructive criticism, um, it can still kind of like bruise your ego, okay? So, very sensitive to criticism in general, not just about the work they do, but in general. Sensitive to criticism about their appearance, sensitive to criticism about who they date, and just sensitive. Um, Positive feedback is very important. And I would add to that, validation is very important. I know these days everybody likes to be like, don't worry about validation from nobody else. And it's all about you and how you feel about yourself. And it's not about what the outside world. Bullshit with sun in the sixth house. Okay. Bullshit. Okay. You care about what other people think of you, and positive feedback is important. And that validation that, yes, you are doing a good job is important, and that you are good at what you do. All right. At the same time, though, because we speak in contradictory terms, we speak in the real world, in realistic terms. Motivation does need to come from within. So while positive feedback is important and validation is important for sun in the sixth house, you still need to find that motivation from within. All right. Of course, you seek perfection in your work. You know, Sixth house Virgo energy is all about perfection. You do really need to like watch your health. Health is a very big thing for a sun in the sixth house person. Um, like watch what you eat. It may be difficult for you to like digest some type of foods and stuff. And I'm preaching to the choir here because this is difficult for me. And I'm a sun in Taurus, so I love food, but I know that there's some food that I shouldn't be eating. And as your sun in this placement, you got to understand that your sun is your vitality, is your reason for living. You know what I'm saying? So you want to live, so make sure you eat right to do that. Yes. All right. So we're working on that. Your sun placement, like I just mentioned, literally like your vitality and what keeps you alive. So it's important for your daily life and work to be something that you enjoy, as I mentioned earlier. Um, you may also have small pets. Virgo in the sixth house is the house of like small pets and cats and dogs and fish and like rabbits and things like that. So yeah, you may have a small pet. You need something to take care of, you know? With sun in the sixth house, because the sun actually represents your father could have been very meticulous in how they went about things, or very, you know, like organized, or just even very critical, maybe. And your father could have also been in the military, because the sixth house is Virgo house is one of the military type houses. Where, you know, they learn to train and do other skills and things like that. Also remember the sixth house, I didn't mention it so much with the sun, but the sixth house has a lot to do with you being of service to others and helping others and things like that. So with the sun in the sixth house, your ability to help others is kind of directly like rooted in your like ego and your vitality, and your, you know, your personality. But it depends on what it is, and it has to be something that you're passionate about. This doesn't mean like just because you have sun in the sixth house that you should be a nurse or something like that. You know, you have to think about what sign is on that sixth house cusp. So for me, sun in Taurus, I mean, technically I could be a nurse because Taurus is one of the signs that could do, you know, health, be in the health field. But that's also, you know, very good at finance and money, as well as, you know, music. So I'm a singer. So sun in the sixth house, that is how I can help and be of service. I can, you know, teach music. I can do, you know, like music on a regular basis, like kind of like a working kind of, you know, musician and stuff like that. And like my entertainment value is providing, you know, a service, that kind of thing. Obviously, that's very difficult to do in the times of the pandemic right now. But hey, thankfully we have the internet and we have social media and we have technology that helps with that. I feel like it's some things that I'm missing about the sun. I was adding in some extra bullet points, but we're going to leave it at that for right now. If there's anything else that you'd like to add in reference to sun in the sixth house, be sure to put that in the comments. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.